Well, I believe it's about that time again. My name's Jacob Ferguson, and this is Rupaul's Drag Race, Season 16, Episode 5. So, first and foremost, I just want to say that this episode was rigged, I guess. Honestly, I sort of knew that it was going to be this queen's time to go sooner or later. She definitely wasn't going to win. But I do want to talk about the episode today. I just noticed there's a gap in my eyebrow. That's fun. So let's get started. So the queens all enter the workroom. Mirage is gone to begin with, and saw a lot of people standing Mirage, which is good, but that does not mean you should send hate to Geneva Carr for doing what she was supposed to do. Of course, people take eliminations of their faves to heart, and they want to vindicate or take revenge on the people who did it. It's like, why? Also, I'm wearing my elephant shirt today because elephants are my favorite animal of all time. So, let's talk about the mini challenge. It was like a book selling thing. It was basically just to say RuPaul has a new book out. So, looking at it, it was okay. Saphira won the mini challenge, though I don't really care a whole lot about that. And she gets to decide what her girl group is going to be. There were 3 girl groups because there were 12 queens left, and they all have to perform to one of RuPaul's songs: Star Baby, Courage to Love, or ASMR Lover. Saphira's group gets Star Baby, and she chooses Morphine Love Dion, Dawn, and Q. As for the second group, it is Plasma, because Plasma won the last week's challenge, and she chooses Plain Jane, A Mandatory Meeting, and the Tsunami Muse. And then the final group is Geneva Carr, because she won the lip sync last week, deservedly so, and she chooses Nymphia Wind, Maya Aman LePage, and Megami. Megami is the last one to be picked. That is a really big, sadness for her because she thought she was better than that. So they get to writing, and it is clear from the jump that the other 2 groups do not see Geneva's group on the same level as their groups. Seashell, not right now, please. 1 second. I'm back. Quit trying to mess up everything, please. You may go. She does that whenever she gets upset with me. She's fine now. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, it's very clear to see that Maya's group, or Geneva's group, is gonna be the bottom, narratively speaking. That all 4 of them were in the bottom last week, so obviously, or in the case of Megami, she was chosen last. So obviously, all of them are not necessarily gonna be the best. And Nymphia is probably gonna be the best out of all of them. We get the rehearsals, as you do. Nothing really of note happens other than the fact that Q can't dance. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen? And we get a narrative explanation later. After the rehearsals happen, and Maya is more soft-spoken than everybody else, and so they pick her out as the weak one, we get to the runway. But before the runway, there is a scene where they are all getting ready in the mirror. And Q earlier had expressed sadness over not winning last week. And while I agree with the sentiment that, she's been in the top so many times she can almost taste it, I also agree with Plain Jane, and that's the first and only time that I'm ever going to agree with Plain Jane. She definitely was overreacting a little bit. She was in the top. Be happy that you were at least noticed by RuPaul. Though I don't even think that Plain or Q should have been in the top last week. I think it should have been Amanda, and maybe Saphira or Q. I could see Q in the top, but definitely not Plain. And Plain did speak on that. The way she went about it was wrong, but it was iconic, so good for her. So Q goes to kind of confront her during the makeup thing, and during that time, she basically says, "Oh, don't worry, I have more. Um, I have more respect for you than I do Amanda," and Amanda pops off. Also, on the topic of Amanda, I'm very proud of her for coming out as trans. Morphine and Saphira are also non binary, and non binary T is valid, so good for them. Amanda came out as trans last week on a show, on a podcast, so I am very happy for her. Um, I hope that she has a good life after that. Um, she definitely deserved to confront Plain Jane about this. And while both of them were talking, I'm just like, can y'all like resolve something? Like just say that was out of line. I'm sorry. Instead, Plain doubles down. And here's the thing, and this is probably going to take up like the bulk of the video, me talking about this, because frankly, the rest of the episode goes off without a hitch. Plain's attitude. Sorry. There we go. Plain's attitude during these this season has been really bad. Here's the thing with villains on Drag Race. You kind of have to see where they're coming from. With the Vixen, she was not the first instigator of the fight between her and Eureka. Eureka was. She would call stuff out as she saw it, like with Aquaria and Miss Cracker's drama, she was just gathering information. But with Eureka verbally attacked her first, and then the Vixen retaliated. With Fifi O'Hara, yes, she was a little bit pointed, but also she had heart. She had like this, I know what I'm doing. Even though there were some parts like her and Jiggly and all of that, I kind of felt bad for Jiggly, but you know, I think especially on All Stars 2, you could. She had the narrative of being upset that that Alyssa was getting all this praise because she was Alyssa, which I kind of agree with. I think that Fifi was correct in doing that. As we've gone on, the only other villain character that I could really pick out was Diabetti. But with Diabetti, you could kind of see where she was coming from. I mean, both Jasmine and Georges were flopping the challenges, and she was kind of tired of it. But the only villain that has ever really won was Tyra Sanchez. And I think that speaks volumes as to how the villain edit actually hurts a queen. Of course, nobody won season 4. Chad, that was just like a segue season into Chad winning All Stars 1. So with Fifi, at least we got to see her back on All Stars, and while she really didn't get the redemption that she wanted to, at least she kind of got a redemption with me, at least going, yeah, I can see that. Also, I know that she goes by Jeremy Carey now. I was just speaking on the show. Talking about Plain, though, I just feel like it's too late in the season now for her to be redeemed. She honestly has just been going after Amanda, Q, anybody that she can, and not really forming that many connections. And it shows online. Amanda and her are still going at it. And Dawn also has said some things about Amanda. The only time that she was that Plane about Plane, excuse me, the only time that Plane was really ever genuine was when she was congratulating Amanda on coming out as trans. But even then, she just reverted back to bashing her over the head with stuff. So honestly, I don't necessarily think that Plane is gonna be redeemed within this season, because she's either gonna do so well that she doesn't need to be redeemed in the eyes of the judges, or she's going to just fade off the face of the earth after the season. Um. So let's move on to the girl groups. What I like, what I didn't like. Well, starting with the first girl group, the Star Baby girl group, Dawn and Saphira Crystal were the best of that group. Both of their verses were iconic. Loved them. Dawn was a rapstress for some reason. Like, she knew rapping and all of that sort of stuff. As for Saphira, loved Saphira's as well. I think it was really, really well done. Second group, I think that Plasma did a really good job, as well as Plane. Though I do have to say, Plane's lyrics were a little bit basic. They were a little bit plain, if you will. So I don't necessarily think that she was in the top. The last group, wow. The last group was so perfect. All of them were. I loved every single performance of the night, even Megami. I think that they knocked it out of the park. Now it is time for the runway, and it is Faster Pussycat, Wig, Wig. This was interesting. There was a lot of ways that you could take it, so let's start with the winning team. The winning team had the worst looks, by the way. I'm going to just be honest here. Let's start with Maya Amon LePage. Her look was okay. She had a wig on. It was Mary J. They all had the wig on. So she had a pussycat wig with points on her shoulders and points down here. And it was okay. Honestly, Maya has not been stunning in these runways very much. So I'm just hoping that she does that. You know. As for Geneva, again, I didn't really like it, but I saw where it was going. It was the 1920s sort of look with the flapper dress. Well, not flapper dress, it was a 1920s dress. And the leopard print and all that. It was okay, but again, meh. I mean, it was okay. Megami had a fairy look on. I have to say, it was really, like, theoretically put together, if a bit basic. I liked that her hair was pink. I liked that her body, that the dress was blue. It was a good look. All of these get creams for me, though. I do have to say, they are teetering the line. Nymphia's was good. I did not like the reveal back here of the, the part of which we do not speak. Just because it was sort of like, I liked her wig, though. Her wig was good. If she kept the wig on, great look. It is still a cream, but I didn't like that back there. I just thought it was not that good. Next up, let's talk about Team Saphira Crystal. Starting with Saphira Crystal, her look is my ultimate favorite. It is an homage to Mike Myers as Dr. Evil, and she has her cat, and she did this, and the wig was the cat. It was great. Definitely the creamiest of all creams for me tonight. Next is Dawn. I don't necessarily think that this look was a pussycat wig look. I mean, the back kind of was, but the hair was not. I just think she had a costume, and she wanted to use the costume. Again, I'm glad that somebody pointed out about the elf ears. I think that they're great, but time and place. So I'm very happy to see Dawn have to readjust her looks for future episodes. As for Morphine Love Dion, I liked her look. It was the scratches. It was good, though I do agree with the judges. You know, great, you have a BBL. That's fine, but that shouldn't be your whole personality. So I'm really excited to see what Morphine does next week. As for Q, I loved her look. However, and I'm so glad that she made it. She looked good. I liked the sword. I liked the helmet. I liked all of that. It was really well done. Let's talk about the last group, Plasma. Now, I'm gonna have to be right back because I don't really remember what. Oh, yep, she was Hermes, the Greek god's messenger. Yep. I thought it was angel wings, but actually it was Hermes. I love when Greek mythology spills into this, because it was good. I just finished watching the Percy Jackson series, so watching somebody do Hermes after seeing Hermes in Percy Jackson series, really well done. Um, Really just a good look. And Plasma's one of those girls that I think is going to keep them coming. Switzer Cream tonight. The Tsunami Muse. Let's talk about her. It's a crunch. I think that she looks okay, but it is just simple. I could say that for Megami's too, but I think that Tsunami's was just a tad bit too simple. It's teetering. It's teetering. I'm not gonna give it a full crunch. I think that since she looks beautiful, it should be a cream. The final two are absolutely crunches. Let's start with the mandatory meeting. I think the idea was cute. I just think that she didn't know how to execute it properly. She had the blue on her mouth and the blue on her wig. It just did not work for me. And I feel bad because I know Amanda Tori is trying, but it's just like not quite there. It's not quite there. Um, so it gets a crunch for me tonight. I'm sorry. And Plain is also a crunch. She looks good, but it is just Jimbo again. It's just Jimbo. Her mask, this would just be something that Jimbo would wear. There's nothing really innovative about it. It's simple. The mask is the only part that I'm like, ooh, a mask. But like the wig does not tie into anything. It's not the focal point. The focal point's up here. So it's a crust because she just doesn't do a good job. We find out that the winning team was the ASMR Lover team. Good work this week, ladies. I am very proud of you. Um, and the bottom two of the week are Q and a mandatory meeting. Iconopop is the guest judge, so obviously Iconopop song is going to be there, and it is Emergency, which wasn't that already done on like Drag Race Belgique or something? I'm not quite sure, but they lip sync, and my brother shared the sentiment that a mandatory meeting was killing it, and I didn't really realize it until I rewatched the lip sync. She was. But she gets sent home. She gets sent home, and instead, Q stays. I think that Q has a bigger reach with her. I think that she's doing a better job at portraying who she is. That being said, if you do bad in a lip sync, you go home. You know, that's just how it has always been. Like Alyssa versus Coco, Alyssa could have stayed, but she went home because Coco kind of beat her in that lip sync. That was a bad reference. What is a good reference for this? Nina West versus Silky Nutmeg Ganache. Even though neither one of them did well, Silky stayed because she did better in the lip sync. Meanwhile, Nina had a better track record. But we see it all the time where it's the other way around. The person with the bad track record stays, with the good track record stays, meanwhile the other one sashays away. So it is just obvious to me that they did not want a mandatory meeting around anymore. Next week they're designing dolls, which I think is really cool. And Law Roach is going to be the guest judge. So, with all that being said, I have been Jacob Ferguson. Who are you rooting for this season? Mine is Nymphia Wind. Alright, bye y'all.